What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Wheel of Time First Time Readers Podcast with Addison and Jenny. If you have not already, go ahead and check out the first part of this video over on Jenny's channel and then come back here. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight to it.
Chapter 40, The Web Titans. The chapter icon is the Flame of Tar-Valon. Rand's wounds from falling off the wall get treated by the woman whose voice he heard. She turns out to be Elaine, the daughter heir of Andor, and also her brother. While she is treating him, her other brother comes over, and he's a bit of a goody two-shoes. So he insists on reporting Rand as a trespasser. He ends up bringing guards who take Rand and Elaine and her other brother, to the Queen for questioning. With the Queen is her Aes Sedai advisor, who seems particularly interested in Rand, and who points out that he doesn't look like he's from the Two Rivers at all. She also has a special gift, which is called foretelling, and she gives a rather foreboding prophecy about general doom and destruction, but then quietly finishes her prophecy, saying that Rand is at the heart of everything, and she wants to put him in prison. The Queen believes Rand and lets him go, because that's the right and fair thing to do, and Elaine and her brother escort him to the gate, where Elaine's brother tells Rand that he looks like an Aielman. The Todd's artwork for this chapter, this one here, which is Elida pointing at Rand. This man stands at the heart of it. So, thoughts on this chapter?
Lots of thoughts. Lots of thoughts. So before it was revealed who Elaine was it, and her brother are, I knew, okay, you've just stumbled upon royalty. Because of the way that he described her outfit and things of that nature. I knew it was something of that type. The other thing though was, I want to briefly talk about when Rand fell and then he saw Logain and Moraine at the table. Yeah. It made me think, man, how much would it suck to go into a coma and Behauserman is on your mind? Like, I literally can't wake up at that time. Like, it would be so bad. It would be so terrible. Yeah. This man would be intimidating you for however long. So I was like, man, please don't let this man have went into a coma or something when this initially happened. That would be so much torture.
It would be horrible.
But
my goodness,
the tone in which Elaine kind of talks to the lieutenant, the troop, the army guys, whatever you call it, the King's Swords, whatever they are. The Queen's Guards, her brother, and them. It's like, this is weird. It's a little bit weird, but it was foretelling of, I know you mentioned foretelling as an ability, but it's foretelling of who she was, and also the way that they would immediately stop talking if she said stop talking, or they would just obey or adhere to what she says. It was I'm not gonna lie, it was like a little annoying too, because it's like, all right, I understand that one day you will be queen, but until then, that doesn't mean. It's like if I got into an argument with my sister and my mom's like, does your sister want all the red Skittles? Then give her all the red Skittles out of your pack. It's like, what? Just because one day she'll be queen? Yeah. And then the Queen even tells her later in the chapter, you need to learn to obey your sister. I'm like, what type of mess is this? Like, the next time I see my sister, I'm gonna have to put in an arm where, just because of what I read in this book, I'm about to give her a wedgie just because I felt some type of way about how this chapter went.
Oh my God. I just want to say apologies to your sister right now. I'm so sorry.
She's gonna have to catch a stray because of that. Learn to obey your sister, man. That was an interesting one, especially when she was the younger sibling too.
Yeah, for some reason, and I know why, but you don't yet. But for some reason, like, she is the daughter heir. She's the and that's the term that they're using, because she's the one who will ascend the throne, not either of her brothers. So
this is another indication. I said this when we watched our reaction to the Wheel of Time show. What are y'all doing to the men in this series? You know what I mean? Like, what is happening? Are they just, they're not men? And like, even from the standpoint of seeing how they interact with the guard, even how the Aes Sedai treat men who have the power, different things of that nature. It was almost like when everything went down, and we'll talk about it in more of a linear way. Yeah. But half the time, like, Elaine and where's your daddy at? You know what I'm saying? Did your mom just get the kids at him and then cast them to prison or something? Off with you, off with his head. I just needed these kids from you. And other than that, you can go on somewhere.
We actually do
it
know
makes
that. We do, but it was explained in that long speech. I don't know if you remember when that farmer was driving. He explained their father died. He just died.
Rehash. Was it just a simple death or was it a
I don't think he explains the details of the death, but it's like as of this point, all that you know, and he just died. There are details involved in there, but he's dead. So it's not like she.
So more gays killed him then, and she just made it seem like an accident. That's what you're saying.
I did not in any way say that.
More gays and a lot more gays had Elida kill him.
Okay.
And then so she couldn't get her hands there. Okay, there it goes. That seems like something that would happen. He didn't take out the trash. He didn't take out the trash on time one day, and more gays had enough of that. She had to get rid of him.
Okay. I like this. I do like this whole story you've written here. But that is information that you do have. That the father, and that they have different fathers. That Galad has a different father than the other two. That is information.
Elaine and Garwin,
yeah, from that farmer who droned on for a very long time.
And the descriptions of things are funny as well. So, as I recall, Rand described, was it Gareth as Gareth as the prettiest man he's ever seen, and then he described Elida as
not Gareth. That's Galad, who is the prettiest.
Galad, my fault. He described Galad as the prettiest.
Sorry, I was wrong. Right. Sorry, Dana in the chat. Galad has a different mother, not a different father. They have the same father. They have a different mother.
Okay, makes sense. So he described Galad as the most pretty man that he's ever seen, and described Elida as the most handsome woman he's ever seen. I was like, I've never heard these two terms intertwined like this. So interesting description.
It was.
And it was hilarious that when she told Galad, be gone pretty much. And then when the Garwin said he probably ran, it's like I could see the guy. As soon as he got to the hindsight, he ran and sprinted to go snitch. Like this must be the most medieval snitch of all time. The original snitch. Medieval snitch, man.
Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna tell Rapunzel, I did not pull his full name on the spelling test just because. Did you catch Galad's full name?
No.
Okay. Because Galad is apparently he's the prettiest man. He has the ugliest name in the history. Okay, Galad, perfectly fine name. His full name, Galadadrid Damadred. Yeah.
Yeah, that's those two don't go to. No. Yeah, those two don't.
Hi, my name is Galadadrid. Galadadrid.
That's terrible. Galadadrid. Goodness gracious. Keep y'all's daughters away from Galadadrid, man, if y'all don't mind. Yeah, it'd be better for all of us.
Galadadrid, the medieval snitch.
I'm definitely gonna. If there was a spelling test, I'm definitely gonna butcher that one. I'm just gonna say that now.
Honestly, you probably would have been okay because it's spelled pretty much exactly how it sounds. But I honestly consistently forget that that's his name because it's so horrible. His name is so bad.
Oh, it's terrible.
Galadadrid.
That is terrible. And speaking of names, I want to speak about another name. Talon Var.
Oh, okay.
Is that not another way of saying Tarvalon?
Oh. Never made that connection, but yeah, you might be right.
Because Talon Var is Tarvalon, they keep the first two letters and they switch the.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that the whole time. And that was one of the guards' names, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Talon Var or Talon Var, yeah.
You think Robert Jordan was just like, all right, I'm tired of making up names. Just switch this around and that's his name, Talon Var.
I mean, why not? Yes, there are more than 2,500 named characters in this series. So at a certain point, I'm sure he was just throwing letters into a blender and being like, okay, yep, that's the character's name.
I don't, and this is one of those things where I don't think I would have thought it if I read it, depending on how it's spelled when I read it. But when I hear Talon Var, I'm also hearing Tarvalon.
Yeah.
And I feel like those two things could have the same spelling if they were switched around. But that was just one thing I was thought about as I was reading through that chapter.
Yeah. It's because you brought up names, I don't actually have this in my notes, but this is something I remember because of the timing that I read these books, but this book in particular. I was in my early 20s, and I was going through an Arthurian phase where I just loved everything to do with Arthurian legend. And I wrote a paper in university about the Arthurian parallels in Star Wars. Like, so I have a paper comparing characters from Star Wars to get, it was literally a university paper I wrote. So, but these characters are like, their names are pulled directly from Arthurian legend. Morghese is, there's a Morghose in Arthurian legend. Elaine, there's an Elaine in Arthurian legend. There's a Galad, there's a Gawain. Caemlyn is even like Camelot. Like, all of these names are just pulled from Arthurian legend.
So you're seeing where Robert Jordan got some of his inspiration for some of the naming schemes in. That's interesting. That's cool.
It was the Arthurian legend that made me figure out how finally to pronounce Egwene's name, because I could never figure out how to say it, because I was looking at it. I was like, is it Egwene? I don't know. Her name is Egwene, and her last name is Alvir. A main character in Arthurian legend is Guinevere. Okay. Her name is Egwene Alvir. Her name is Guinevere. Her name is literally Guinevere. So it's Egwene. Okay.
I'm hearing the similarities.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Merlin.
I'm hearing the similarities.
Yeah, Merlin is another character from Arthurian legend. Tom's last name is Marilyn, so Tom Marilyn.
Oh, that's right, Tom Marilyn. Okay. Yeah. I wonder if, as more characters come, if I will start to recognize some other connections as well.
Yeah. Lady of the Lake.
That'll be interesting. I'll try to look out for that.
Yeah. When I read these books the first time, this particular section, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Camelot. Like, everything was just jumping at it.
So that stuck out to you immediately as you're reading it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, well, I'm not as versed in that area thing, so I didn't. Morghese now, the Morghese name.
You didn't go through a nerdy Arthurian legend phase in your 20s? I thought everybody did that.
That's funny. I tried to say it a lot nicer than that, but you see, I was like, I didn't pick up on that, but you dissected it a whole nother way. Hey, respect though, man. People have different hobbies and different interests at different times. So hey, it took me this long to get to Wheel of Time. So hey, we all come around there sometime.
Exactly.
But Morghese is a dope name. I forgot to mention this a while back. It was funny seeing Rand wrestle with himself about his initial feeling about Elaine.
She's pretty. Oh no, I shouldn't be thinking she's pretty.
It's like, but I can't lie to my eyes. Lord have mercy. It's a nice looking young woman right here. You know what I'm saying? If I said I can't lie, I definitely can't lie. You know what I'm saying? So it was funny hearing him. He like doubled down on it. He was like, he's like, she a sight for sore eyes, indeed. So it was funny, but it also let me know, especially when she had started healing him up and giving him ointment and stuff like that. I wonder if this could be one of the women that, that there were reference of, because they said Rand was surrounded by a few women. It made me wonder if this could be a plan B for him potentially, especially since he had the one opinion that him and Egwene love each other, but they're not meant to be together. He might need to get him another little recommendation about Miss Elaine here. Okay. Especially since it comes with, some nice benefits, it appears.
Yeah, she is the daughter heir. A castle, yes. Nice garden that's green. Like, it's a green garden when everything else is not green. So
garden is the whipped cream on top. But, sure, the garden.
Rand's a farmer. The garden's a big deal to him.
My fault. He had a different cultural background. He probably thinking about the garden in a different way than I am.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so if we go back into the actual throne room and what happens in there, we had Elida's prophecy. Now, I just have it here if you want me to read it to you to see if there's anything in this that you wanted to talk about. So her prophecy
for sure, there's definitely a lot.
Okay, so the prophecy she said is, the Dark One stirs in Shale Ghul. The shadow lies across the pattern and the future is balanced on the point of a pin. This one is dangerous. This I foretell and swear unto the light that I can say no clearer. From this day, Andor marches towards pain and division. The shadow has yet to darken to its blackest, and I cannot see if the light will come after. Where the world has wept one tear, it will weep thousands. This I foretell, and then this is the part that she whispers. This too I foretell. Pain and division come to the whole world, and this man stands at the heart of it. I obey the queen and speak it clearly.
I have a few thoughts about this. One of which I was a little confused about which part she whispered. And the reason I say that is, in hindsight, I'm pretty sure had she said, and this man stays at the heart of it out loud, that Morgaze would not have let this man go.
Yeah.
I don't think she would have let him go at all, because when she let him go, it was almost like, I think clearly you did not hear that part.
Yeah.
But two, it actually makes me more scared for Rand for two different reasons. One, because if y'all been listening to our First Time Reader podcast of the Randikin situation, that's one. The Randikin situation is a big one. For those of you I don't know what Randikin is, I have a fear that Brother Rand is going to go down a dark path, or has the potential to go down a dark path. Number two is, by her not saying that out loud, she could deal with things herself. Yeah. In the way she wants to deal with it, because she does not strike me as a woman who's going to let this go. She doesn't strike me as that type. It was almost like she did give a recommendation that, you know, keep him in a cell or things of that nature, but now she could go the back door way and kind of capture him herself and, you know, deal with it how she pleases. That was a little interesting. I was extremely surprised that Morgaze ended up letting him walk. Yeah. But
she's a just queen, and he literally did nothing wrong. As much as she may be suspicious of him, it's the law of the land. He accidentally fell into their garden. It's not like she's a good queen.
That is to be determined. I'll say that. That is to be determined. She's a good queen. She's a good queen for now, for letting Rand go. Okay. Yeah. Another thing in the courthouse, I'll say real quick, is it was very funny. Not the courthouse, but you know. Yeah. The queen's main room, whatever you call it.
I literally can't remember the word for it now, but yeah.
It was very funny seeing Rand trying to act in the appropriate way in a royal setting. Yeah. That was hilarious. Yeah. That was hilarious. I could see myself doing something stupid like doing a wrong bow, and then they all off with his head or something like that.
It took me a while to figure that out, because they get somebody looks at him dirty when he bows, and it took me a while. I was like, why? Because he did he bowed
the same bow that they did.
Yes, which is the bow they're the queen's kids. He can't do the same bow as the queen's kids. That's a different bow.
It was a tough predicament. It was a tough predicament for him to be in. Yeah. And I hate that the people around him were making it difficult for him. Yeah. But it was a tough predicament.
Yeah. I do think Talonvor was upset. I honestly, just my read on this, I don't think anybody else was upset, but it was Talonvor being offended on behalf of the queen. Yes. And the queen was like, he's a farm kid. He doesn't know
this dude is taking his job too serious.
Yeah.
Way too serious.
Talonvor a bit
way too serious.
Yeah. Over-dedicated, perhaps, maybe. The other thing I noted is Rand is very, very truthful in this whole encounter. He's given his name, he's given them, what is it you said, his address, his social security, until Elida starts freaking him out. Elida starts to freak him out, and then he's suddenly like, I'm staying at this hotel.
I feel him, and I actually like how he approached this situation, because I don't think this is one of those situations where you can play games with. We seen Perrin get into a situation with Elias. There's certain situations it's better for you to tell the truth up front, or it's gonna be worse for you. Now, when Elida start talking, I stay at in the top of this other what is it, the Fox and Hell? I forget whatever estate he said it was, but I'm not telling her where I stay at all. Period. But coming out with the truth, I think, was very important for them. And I had already had a suspicion that there was an Aes Sedai in the building from the fact that when Rand walked in and he was like, there's only one cat in here with the rats, and they're like, there's no rats here. And I figured, there's an Aes Sedai in the presence because they probably don't have rats. They don't got snitches around them because all they do is tell the truth, right?
Yeah.
So that was an indication that there was an Aes Sedai in the building, and there was also that indication when I think it was Elaine was speaking, and she was like, Morgaze doesn't give directions to two people. And I could figure a lot of, if one person you wouldn't give directions to, it seems like no matter how high a ranking an official you would probably be an Aes Sedai.
Yeah, probably. That makes sense. That makes sense.
They'd be more of a consultant.
The only other thing I do have in my notes here is, did you note, like, I mean, you did catch it, I think, because we talked about it in the last chapter, but how everyone reacted to when they saw that his sword had a heron on it. The whole courtroom just is like,
Yes. Yeah, even Elaine, Elaine acted as if she didn't know the full story.
Yeah.
So it actually makes me want to know more about what all comes with having a heron marked sword, because everybody acts weird when they see the sword. Everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody has a healthy fear, it seems like, when that sword is revealed.
And then the chapter ends with Gawain saying, "You look like an Ioman." Poor Rand.
No, it don't just end with that, you know. It ends with, you know, Sister Elaine telling Rand, had I told Mama you was handsome, you know, it wouldn't have worked out. So it was funny seeing that little flirtation kind of go by, but it was also like, I appreciate you for not doing that. More gays ain't letting her daughter go out with some farm boy. It just ain't not for now.
Yeah.
So it also made me feel that for sure this is not the last encounter with them.
Okay.
That's how I feel, but we'll see. We'll see, especially since we know that Elaine and her brother are going to be going off for training and different things as well. So
yeah, they're heading to Tarvalon. So all right.
Which is the same place that our crew is headed to. So
exactly.
That's why I feel like it's not going to be the last encounter with them.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I'm just. I have nothing else from this chapter. Do you have any further thoughts before next one?
It was we met some people that I feel like were pretty cool, new characters. Again, in the grand scheme of things, I'm like, why did this not play out in the show? But it makes me feel like we will in season 2 see these characters or some of them potentially.
Yeah.
Are you cool with this section being left out of the show?
Because I knew going in that season 2 was already greenlit. So when this didn't happen, I was like, okay. For me, I thought budget. Like that was what I was thinking, because they had to build a city, right? Like they would have to build a whole city, and they built in the show. They built 2 cities. To be perfectly honest, I think they built 1 city. I think they built Shadar Lugoth, and they used it twice. They used it for Tarvalon as well. So I think that's what it was. My assumption is that this city will probably show up at some point in the future, and they just made a coin toss as to what they thought was the most important cities to show in season 1. That's my guess.
Yeah, they weren't fair with this one, man, because they let Egwene have her little fun with Tinker Boy. What's his name? What's Aram. Aram. But they didn't get to show Rand, potentially having a option as well. So we get to see Egwene's option, but we don't see Rand's option.
We did see Rand's option, but his option got stabbed in the neck with a knife. It's a Dana.
No, that was not option. No. No, I know we're not associating a dark friend to one of Rand's options. That's unfair. And matter of fact, Rand took a hard pass on that option.
Yes,
so that's
true.
That's not an option. That's crazy.
Egwene did it in the show. She he knows that somebody's in her, because Aram says something to her like, "Who is the boy who has your heart?" So she's said it to him, or she's given a vibe of, "I'm not into you."
She did, but it still had that but I could be stolen. You know what I'm saying? It had it. I feel what you mean, but she had that hint of, well, let's see how good your game is. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying I'm gonna marry you, but we could have a good little time on this road trip. It just gave me those type of vibes, because even in the book, she was talking to Perrin about how much fun he was to be with.
Yeah.
And if I don't know, I could just see that being a weird situation. I highly doubt she would be telling Rand how much fun he was to be with if Rand was there in that same situation.
Perhaps.
Unless she's just trying to get under his skin. Now I can see her trying to be petty and get under his skin, knowing how they were to each other.
Their relationship seems to be fraught with issues.
And I feel like we're just seeing the beginning of it.
Yes. Oh, the only other thing I did want to mention, and it comes up later, you can sort of put things together, but did you figure out what Aja, what color Shawty, what color Sister Elida was? Or could you put a guess on it?
They had red armbands in support of the queen,
So
right?
that's not, but that doesn't really have to do with what fraction of Aes Sedai she is.
It doesn't have anything to do with that. The
Yeah.
Ajas.
Yeah.
I know you said your favorite Aja is the brown Aja. But
Well, okay. It hurts my soul. Is there a vibe of Aja? Like, so far, you know the purpose of 3 of the Ajas, right? You know, the green, from the show, the green is the battle Aja. The red, they're the ones who, like, take down the men who can channel, and anybody who misuses the power. And then the yellows are the healers. Any of those give a vibe, or the doo-doo Aja, whatever you think what kind of Aes Sedai she is.
Did it give me clear enough indication, or
we do get an answer to this in like a future chapter, but I'm wondering if you had any vibe on what Aja she was when you were just meeting her from her attitude.
Shoot, I'm gonna say Black Aja.
Black Aja. All right.
Because it was like, didn't Rand compare? She's like steel and velvet, but she was yeah. So I don't know, but she does strike me as a little ruthless. Moraine, it makes me, this is weird to say, it makes me appreciate Moraine a lot more when we get to meet a lot. It really does. It makes me appreciate Moraine a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I hate that I missed that one.
No,
I'm gonna say black, maybe purple.
It's not revealed in this chapter. It's revealed in the future chapter. I will just tell you now. And I'm just seeing the way Dana's wording this. What is her public Aja? A black Aja is a secret. Like, you can be a black Aja and something else in the public. Like, nobody's publicly. I'm a dark friend, so that would be a secret.
That's a fact.
Yeah. So she, I won't say whether or not she is that or not. But in future chapters, Moraine says something like every single other Aes Sedai in the city, and Moraine knows Elida's there, so she knows this. Every single other Aes Sedai that's in the city right now is red. So Elida is a red Aja. So you have now officially met yourself a red body shotty.
So you tried to throw me off, though.
Well, how did I try to throw you off?
Because I was like, well, they got red in an armband, so I'm thinking there, and you're like, well, that doesn't necessarily indicate that. I was thinking red, and when you stopped me right there, I was like, oh man, maybe it's not red.
No,
man.
The reason I
trusted you, Jenny. You led me astray.
No, I swear I wasn't trying to lead you astray. Because the red that they're wearing has nothing to do with that. And this is a difference between the show and the books. In the show, every single time we see a red Aes Sedai or green Aes Sedai, everybody wears their colors. In the show, the first time we meet Elida, she's wearing green. But she's, like, we know that she's a red Aes Sedai, but she's wearing green. And so I think in the show they were doing that as a shortcut, because people aren't going to walk around going, hi, I'm a red Aes Sedai. Like, nobody's just constantly introducing their colors. So they just did that as a shortcut for that, which I think was a smart decision. I don't know how you feel about that, but I don't know how else they would do that in the show. Just have everybody constantly say their affiliation every single time they open their mouth.
Yeah, it makes me feel like they have one of those cartoon character closets to where every single outfit is the same thing, just for a different day of the week.
Yeah.
But okay, red. She strikes me as and now it makes sense. Maybe her infatuation with Rand, with her being a red Aja. So makes sense. She felt, that's what it felt like to me. Closer towards things, especially since in the show, the first Aja that we see are red Ajas chasing down the 2 guys. Yeah. So aside from Moraine, of course, but yeah. Okay, doesn't surprise me.
I swear I wasn't trying to throw you off. I swear. Don't want you to
Man, it was one of those things that, back in school, you had to write how you got your answer.
Yeah.
And like, I remember on several different occasions, I would get the right answer by doing the wrong thing, but it was still the right answer. And my teacher called me up and he'd be like, I want you to know that this way you came to this is incorrect, but I have to still give you points, but let me educate you on.
Yes.
So you stopped that whole process for me today.
I apologize. Again, I'm sorry.
No, I'm messing with you.
All right. Well, shall we go on to the next chapter then?
We shall.
All right. So the next chapter is chapter 41, Old Friends and New Threats. And the icon is Moraine's staff. Back at the inn, Rand tells the innkeeper and Brother Book about what happened, prompting Loyal again to comment about how Rand is very clearly Ta'veren. They are interrupted by first White Cloaks coming in and sort of posturing a bit in the inn, and then by Moraine's arrival, and our whole party is finally reunited. Except for Matt, who is still upstairs in bed. They go up there with Nynaeve planning to treat him, but Matt is super creepy. Moraine comes in and senses some evil, and when she approaches Matt, he tries to stab her with a dagger. She explains that the dagger would draw Shadow Spawn and Dark Friends towards them, and then Lan confirms that there are Trollocs gathering around the city of Caemlyn, waiting until they have enough numbers to attack. Moraine kicks everyone out of the room so she can get to work. And Todd's artwork is...
See what Brother Todd is doing.
Yeah, that's Matt with his dagger. And our...
That's dope. I like how he has everybody's facial expression like almost like a comic book strip. That's pretty cool.
It is. It's adorable. I love his stuff. So yes, I like his Lan's hand grabbing the dagger and everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, Lan don't play about Moraine. That's one that he don't play. Lan does not play about Moraine. I feel like I finally got the answer to the question that you asked me in a few episodes ago. And you asked me, do I have any idea how the Dark Friends keep finding them?
Yeah.
And then Moraine breaks down the fact that the dagger, was just a beacon for all Dark Friends and evilness alike. And I'm like, this man had a tracker on him the whole time. This is... So I feel like in the back of my head, I thought that, but I didn't. But it was made clear then. And it was funny how Moraine was just kind of abruptly like, everyone get away from him. It was like so serious. It was so serious. But yeah, that was an interesting situation. And Matt, this was the tipping point of how crazy Matt was acting. Like he was really acting weird now. Talking about, oh, you think you're pretty. Like, it's like, Matt, you are definitely off the deep end right now, my brother.
Matt says some really creepy stuff. Like, he's not only says some creepy stuff, but he seems to know things. Like, he knows that Nynaeve is thinking of herself as something more than a wisdom all of a sudden because she's got this guy that's in her sights. And he knows that Perrin's got something. Like, that dagger's done something to him that is weird and creepy.
So when he started spewing out some of that information, I was like, man, something or some other being with deeper insight than you have has entered into you or has become a part of you and is spewing that out through you. I do want to back up real quick to say that I do feel like the rekindling of the entire group in this episode was, although I read the title, I knew it was going to happen. It happened super quick. It's just like we've been looking for each other for so long, and then bam, there everybody just we're here together now. I feel like the rekindling of Lan, Moraine, Nynaeve, Egwene, and Perrin was smoother than the rekindling of Matt and Rand within the rest of the group.
I think what the reason is the Perrin and Egwene and Lan, Nynaeve, and Moraine reuniting, we got to see from both of their sides, where in this case we only get to see Rand's side of it, so it does feel sudden. Like we get a bit of a recap of their side. Like I think, was it Egwene? Somebody says that like Moraine had them wandering around the city until she like caught the scent and then dragged them in there, but we never actually see it happen, so we just get Rand's like, whoa, they're here. Like that's the perspective that we're in. So I noted here, we've got like weird levels of overconfidence that came to fruition here, where like Moraine thought that if I said, don't let anybody give you anything, that would cover, don't take anything. And Matt and later on Rand thought that everything would be fine as long as nothing that they took from Shadar Logoth was a gift. So both of them were... You
think like, Matt and Rand thought that, or just Matt thought that? Because I like, to me, I feel like Matt was just being selfish. Like, I feel like it's one of those things where you say, don't throw rocks into the water. And then somebody takes a plastic cup and throws it into the water. It's like, okay, I didn't have to, don't throw anything into the water. I didn't say throw anything, but obviously rocks were right there. So I said, don't throw rocks into the water. It was one of those situations to where I feel like he did what he wanted to do. in a selfish mindset.
Yeah, I do think Matt is like 90. I don't even want to say any of the fault is with Rand.
Oh, yeah.
I just think Rand trusted Matt. Like Matt said, "Oh, she said don't let anybody give anything to me." He said nobody gave it to me, and Rand was like, "Okay, I guess so." Like he trusted that his friend was right about this, which was kind of dumb because his friend was
Yes,
Matt.
yes.
So,
I will say I put myself in Rand's shoes a few times during the course of their travels, and I was like, man, one of these nights when Matt goes to sleep, I'm gonna take his dagger and I'm gonna just chunk it. I'm gonna just chunk it. But in this chapter, I understand that would have been detrimental to his
stupid dagger.
But yeah, I was thinking that throughout the course, and a part of that is me knowing what happens in the show with the dagger and stuff. But a part of me is like, one time Matt goes to sleep, I'm just take it and throw it, and it was, oh, Matt, did you hear that? Oh no, I was asleep, Matt. Oh, it must have been something in the forest. I would have played it off something smooth. But when Moraine gave the spiel about it, fast forward a little bit, they come back into the room, and this is still the same chapter, right? We're going to talk about this.
That happens in the next chapter because in this chapter she's just kicked everybody out.
We'll speak. So she kicks everybody out.
Yeah.
And in this one, I don't want to jump ahead again. Do they talk about the dreams in this one, or is that next one as well?
That is the next chapter. That's the next chapter.
Okay. Oh, golly. I'm getting ahead of myself.
I know. But the next chapter is a good one. So
Yeah. The next chapter is a good one.
Yeah. Do you have any further thoughts on this one? Because I have no more notes on this
one. No, it just seemed like an abrupt meeting. I'm glad everybody got together, though. I'm glad the whole crew is back together. It's been a rough time. What is the time frame? Is there a time frame between when they got separated to when they got back together? Are we talking months? Are we talking weeks? What are we talking?
I think it's weeks, but as I'm stalling to let the chat catch up with us, I bet you somebody in the chat knows more specifically than me. So, like, there is a website out there where somebody's done a good timeline of everything. I would guess weeks.
Okay.
In the show, it was a month. So, okay, yeah.
Dana says about 3 weeks.
Yeah. So, I would say, yeah, that feels right to me. Then I will go on to the next chapter, which is the final one for this week. It is called Remembrance of Dreams. The icon is the 2 ravens.
Those look familiar.
Yes, they do. Rand takes Perrin, Egwene, and Nynaeve to the library where they meet Brother Book. Matt and Moraine come down, and Matt looks healthy and like a decent person for the first time in a while. But he still has the dagger, and Moraine explains to Rand that she doesn't have enough power to separate him from it all on her own. But she has shielded it so that Shadowspawn can't detect it. Loyal tells a story about a man who entered a steading, which is where the Ogier are from, and told them that the Dark One plans to, quote-unquote, blind the eye of the world. This prompts the boys to finally tell Moraine about their dreams, where the Dark One repeatedly mentioned the Eye of the World and how it will not serve them. Loyal remarks that all 3 of the boys must be Ta'Veren, and Moraine agrees. She also thinks that this is a sign that they have to get to the Eye of the World as quickly as possible, and asks Brother Book to guide them, but he refuses. And Todd's drawing for this one, if I remember correctly, I think this might be my favorite one. It's Loyal reading a book in the library.
That brother there, man.
With a little cat.
Enjoying a good old book, too.
Yes. Look how small it is in his hands. It's so cute. I love it. All right. So, yes, you had so many thoughts on this chapter.
So the final chapter for this episode, a part of me felt very annoyed seeing Matt come back through and still get to keep the dagger. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, to me, it was kind of like, ever see something that like irks you?
Yeah.
But it was like, how does he get to keep the dagger? It's like you got what you wanted at the same time of being disobedient.
Yeah.
It's like seeing a kid get spanked for stealing candy, but they walk back out the room with tears and all, and they still get the sucker in their mouth just because the parents don't want to hear the kid cry no more. It was it was one of those situations.
Yeah.
Although it is good to see him back in good spirits, it is also interesting knowing why he cannot be without the dagger.
Yeah.
Now it also kind of helps me understand the fandom a lot more, because when he got the dagger in the show, everybody's like, "Oh, the dagger!" I saw a lot of comments about the dagger, or there it is, or yada yada yada. So it makes me feel like it is something that he could potentially turn to good, maybe, I don't know, or it's just gonna be, or he could use it for good use, although he got it under bad circumstances. But it seems like it's one of those things he'll have to get checked on constantly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because Moraine did say, like, she shielded it, but it, like, she's one person. She doesn't have enough power. The evil could start to seep out at any. She's done the best she can, but it's a temporary solution.
It makes me wonder if they're going to have to do something similar to what they did to Logain in that cave when they had all the women circling around them and kind of zap them back. Is it going to take that level of Asada or Aja work to sever him from the knife? But yeah, it is weird too, because it's like, is this a lifelong ailment then now that he has, or what is the timetable on this situation? Going into the dreams. You ever see those TV shows? I forget if Dexter, there used to be some other shows that used to do it, to where a character will hear something, and then they'll do a cut scene of them doing something extremely violent, but then they'll cut back to the show, and it's like, okay, you realize they didn't do it. It was just what was on their mind. So I really, when this happened, I put myself in Moraine's shoes, or saw Moraine's perspective of them telling they all had dreams about Housamon, and then she immediately, just like her and Lan, just sliced all of their heads off and stabbed and went back. And that's that. I told y'all I wasn't gonna let them get you. that's what I envisioned, and then they cut back to reality and she had a dialogue.
I was envisioning it differently. Like, I was like envisioning her being like, he's cut to her and she's like smacking them all. I told you to tell me when you had dreams. I told you. Like, not mad at them because.
Oh, mine was much darker.
Yeah, yours was much darker.
Mine was much darker. They saved Perrin for last because he's the kindest of them all, but they took care of him. But at the same time, like, a part of me is like, Moraine, as disappointed as you may be, you can't be that mad. Like, you literally told 3 guys that you would, without saying it, right, that you would kill them if the Dark One, or if you felt like the Dark was going to get them. So I put myself in their shoes. So it's like, well, if you told me that, and I feel like the Dark One has got some leverage on me, I'm not finna just willingly commit suicide, especially not after what we seen you do to the ferryman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not playing. There's certain games I have to be cautious. And also remember, Tom was even telling them, be careful of what all that you tell her. Because you don't know what she will or will not do with that information. So I feel like if she were not so much thinking about her mission or her purpose, she probably would actually respect the fact that they did, or not respect, but she'll understand their point of view as to why they did not tell her sooner. What
I always found interesting in this is that, and this is a difference from the show. It's actually one of the things that I kind of wish that they'd done in the show is, in the show, episode 6 is the first time we hear about Eye of the World. Swan, like, what do you call her? Sister Most-Tatted? Whatever.
Sister Most-Tatted.
She's the first person to say Eye of the World in the show. And in the book, we've just been hearing it constantly. Like, we've heard it in their dreams. We heard it from the Tuatha, and like we're just hearing it from like 3 different. Oh, and Loyal tells it now. So we've heard the term constantly, and it's interesting in this moment how those 3. Like, I do think Moraine is probably incredibly frustrated that they didn't tell her about their dreams, but hearing all 3 aspects where she hears the Eye of the World at the same time makes her realize that that's an important thing. And I think if she hadn't heard them come in like 1, 2, 3, she might not have put it together. But because it came in sequence, she was like, wait, this is an important thing. So as mad as Moraine is, this is a situation where I think she has to, I mean, if I was there, I'd be like, Moraine, I know you're mad. Just be grateful it happened this way, because this allows you to put the pieces togetger. That's
a fact. And 2, we've been separated for like 3 weeks at this point. Is it like, what I'm gonna do? Call you up on my call me, beep if you want to reach me. You know, want to send you a pager message, send you an email.
If you want, Kim
Kim Possible reference right there for those of y'all who don't know. Like, how am I supposed to tell you this? I think maybe they had a couple dreams while they were still in her presence, but a majority of them happened when they were on this trip.
True.
So
it's true.
what? How exactly am I supposed to let you know that? So essentially, I feel like they still did a good job of doing what they were supposed to do. Give or take one or two dreams, right?
Yeah,
give or take one or two.
Yes, it's true. It's
but
true.
Yeah. Oh man, this is funny. So Dana says, "How did Jenny snap with no hands?"
It's a talent. It's my power talent.
This is one of those X-Files moments.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, and then we're getting a lot more mention of Taviran in the show. We hear it in episode 1, and we hear it in episode 8. Whereas in this, like, you're seeing what Taviran does. Like, Rand accidentally falls into the palace garden, and then now we have 3 of them hearing stories somehow in 3 different directions, telling them where they have to go. Like the naked mole rat.
Kate is giving
Kim Possible
Kate
references.
said Perrin is Ron Stoppable and Matt is the naked mole rat. That's crazy.
Matt is the naked mole rat. Okay, for some reason.
Yeah.
Yes, nice.
That's funny.
I have to say Taviran like loyal. Taviran. That's how he says it there. But yeah, we're just getting a lot of reference to what that is and how it sort of steers them in the direction that Taviran needs them to go. I don't know, because did you fully understand? Like, you're getting I think a firmer grasp of what Taviran is in the book. Did you understand it in the show, or was it just like this word that was said?
No, it was a word that was said. I'm actually getting more of an understanding of Taviran in my discussions with you than I actually am in the book.
Okay.
So feel free to enlighten me a little bit more, as long as it's not, I guess, fully to the next chapters, if that makes sense. But yeah, so actually, I've been hearing it a lot. I've actually been mistaking it more for
an ethnicity, I think. Yeah.
Correct, because like when they say when the one of the Queen's kids said, you be an Ioman. So I'm also, like you said, an ethnicity is what I'm mostly mistaken Taviran with.
Yeah. No, okay, they are different. And it's not so much spoilery. It gets sort of explained gradually as the book, or you sort of see it more, I suppose, gradually as the story goes on. But it is just this idea that you are, they call the way the world works and what controls the weavings of the wheel, that they call it the pattern. And if you are central to the pattern, then things happen that the pattern thinks are necessary to happen to you. So that is like Rand, if he wasn't Taviran and he climbed a wall to look at the false dragon, he would have just climbed a wall to look at the false dragon. But he's Taviran, and Taviran was like, we need this to happen. Now you've climbed Buckingham Palace. Like, that's what it's like. That's the sort of thing that's happening.
So, Taviran is a group of people that is so explain.
It's a title given to people who the pattern thinks are important.
So I could essentially say, today is Friday the 13th for me, and somebody could say, well, today is Taviran for me.
I mean, kind of like, it's sort of like that sort of thing, like
nothing I do today matters. Only what you do today matters in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a person in human history that this would be like. It's I don't know, people who make a
main character syndrome. Yeah, is that what David says that in the comments?
That's kind of what it is. Yeah, it's the main character syndrome, but it's main character syndrome.
Makes sense.
Yeah, like in another show they would call it or another book where it's plot armor. All the important stuff happens to the main character, whereas in the Wheel of Time,
there we go.
It's the same thing, but it's not random. Like, it's something that the pattern did on purpose. So, yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. So, okay.
I think that's all the notes that
So it wasn't Rand's fault that he fell into the Queen's Garden. It was Taviran's fault.
It's okay. I think you saw you saw the parody video that I made about Taviran, Young and Taviran. Is that the one you saw?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, I know you saw one of them. I'm not sure which one you saw because you commented on it once. But
I saw your singing is the singing the one you did the singing for the Will of Time Idol one.
Okay. Ooh. Ooh, I'm nervous you saw that one. That one has full spoilers.
I
Okay.
don't remember anything
Okay.
from it, or I probably didn't even understand some of the stuff.
All right.
I was
Well, one of the lines I wrote in a parody video that you actually can watch, I wrote the line caught riding the line between fate and decision. Like that's like Taviran is like you
bars.
you do have a choice, but fate also has a choice, and you're just constantly riding that line between I get a choice and fate is making a choice for me. You're just on that line all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I appreciate you for breaking that down. This we went into a whole Taviran discussion, but yeah, now that makes sense now, because otherwise I'll be thinking it was a group of people as I kept reading. So thank you for clearing that up for me.
No problem. Okay, I don't think I have any further notes on this chapter. Before we get into the quiz, do you have any further questions or thoughts?
No further questions. I think I'm glad that the whole group is back together, but we'll see. I'm a little nervous of Elida, and what she has in store potentially, or if Moraine is able to, hit her with that, sister, look, I got this under control. You do what you got to do. Let me do what I got to do.
Do you think they're going to meet up with Elida?
I think they will, but I don't think it will be because they want to.
Right. Yeah.
I think it'll be one of those things that they may be trying to escape or go somewhere, and Elida, kind of catches them before they get out of town or on their way to town. Yeah, I feel like they will. I feel like they will meet up with Elida again.
Okay.
Now, if they come to some understanding, and if she respects her, lets Moraine continue down her path with the group, will be another question, though.
Yeah. Well, then, shall I get into the quiz?
Jenny, if that's what you want to do.
That's what we're gonna do.
Man, y'all rough on a sick man today, man. Goodness gracious.
In the editing, one of these times I'm gonna put you dancing on the screen because they don't get to see it. I love it every single time. All right, well, I think you're actually going to do all right. It was the juice
dance today.
Yeah, it was. I think you're going to do all right on the quiz because you've been dropping some of these answers in our chat. Okay. Question number 1. What was the name of the white cloak who gave Perrin the sharp rock so that Perrin and Egwene could escape?
Berith.
Oh, you got the first letter right.
Berith or Bayeth or something with a B.
It is with a B. Okay. You're right. It is with a B.
It's funny because we talked about this and you told me, you're like, this is gonna. Well, it wasn't a quiz, but I'll tell you.
Yes.
Bayeth.
Yeah. It is with a B. His name is Child Byar, or Jarrett Byar is his first name, but Child Byar.
Jarrett Byar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brother Byar.
Mm-hmm. Brother Byar, he makes me uncomfortable, that man. Okay. Number 2. Elaine has 2 brothers. Can you name one of her brothers?
Garwin and Galad.
You can name 2 of them. All right, there you go. Yes, it's Gawain and Galad. Yeah, Galad is from...
Sweet.
Yeah, Gawain. Okay, let's see. Ooh, all right. Can you name one of the principal products of the 2 rivers? Gawain tells us this. When Gawain is talking about the 2 rivers, he says, the 2 rivers... These are the products that come out of the 2 rivers. Do you remember either of them?
Yellow-eyed boys. Shotties with nice braids.
Just exporting shotties all over the land.
Boys with hair and marked swords.
These are their main exports.
What are they? They're farm-like community. What did they say they have?
Well, do you remember what Rand farms?
Sheep?
Yeah, so sheep would be what? Like
what wool?
Wool is one of them, exactly. Wool is one of them. And the other one you should remember, because I was watching your stream one time and somebody sent you shirts and stuff, Wheel of Time, and one of them said Two Rivers Tabac. Tabac is the tobacco.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tobacco is
that is actually that's crazy. They did send me the shirt, and I think somebody let me know in the comments, and because I actually went, I was like, "Dang, am I endorsing tobacco?"
it's for the pipe. It's
but
for
okay,
their pipes.
makes sense.
Because everybody smokes like they're smoking pipes in fantasy world. It's not exactly cigarettes; it's a pipe. But yeah, it's Two Rivers Tobacco and wool. So you got it.
Gotcha.
I said name
Tobacco
one of them.
and wool.
Yeah, so you got one of them. And then the final question before the spelling.
Oh, Jenny, hey, look, you walked me through that one. You don't got to make me feel good about
No,
it.
but you got it. You got it. You totally got it. And then the final question before the spelling is, and you know this one, you've said her name 1,000 times. What is the name of the Aes Sedai in Queen Morghase's court?
Elida?
Yeah, it's Elida. That's how you
Elida?
pronounce it. But yeah, Elida.
Elida.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, somebody called it wacky tobacco. There is some discussion in the fandom whether or not the tobacco from the Two Rivers is wacky or not. There is some discussion. Is it?
How do we get to these talking points? Was somebody on that wacky tobacco when they started this conversation?
I don't know. So, but okay. So now let's move on to the spelling, and it is going to be a multiple choice. I will start it.
At least we get multiple choice. There we go.
You've done well on the quiz today. So the first one we just mentioned, Elida. I would like you to decide which one of these three spellings is the correct spelling of Elida. We have Elaida, Eighda, Eighhlaida.
I want to go A.
You want to go
That's
A?
what I want to go.
I'm going to let you know. You're right. A is correct.
Okay.
It is the least egregious of these three spellings.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. I got a little bit crazy
man.
with C. I was just like, I don't know what else I can do.
But the problem is, though, based upon everything I've seen, they're all great viable options.
Yes. Well, I mean, I saw you like post that short of Murdraw. I do not know what Robert Jordan was thinking with 2 D's and 2 A's. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. But all right. And then, of course, the next one, we have Elaine. How do you think Robert Jordan spelled Elaine? We have Aelaine, B Elhaine, C ElaYne.
Because of the way Elida was spelled, I want to go A again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say my two answers right now are between A and C.
Okay.
And dang it. I got to pull the plug on one. I feel like it's gonna be C, but I'm gonna say I gotta go A again. There's no reason you should be spelling the name with the. I gotta go A again.
I'm gonna tell you, A is how it's actually spelled in the real world. C is how he spelled it in the book.
I knew it was gonna be. I knew it was gonna be like that. And I was hoping I was gonna get some leniency because a lot of was spelled more normally. This time, but I was wondering if it was gonna be C. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
What's the sound effect they make?
Yes, yes. All right. So that's it. That's the quiz. And I don't know, do you have any further thoughts, final thoughts on this section? Like this whole section was largely made up of stuff we didn't see in the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is why sections like this are interesting to me. Most of the things that we read for this week's episode, I don't know if I would switch out between what we saw in the show.
Right.
Except for Ren's interaction with Elaine.
Right. Yeah.
I think I would have liked to see that in, but I don't know if I liked it enough to say I would sacrifice something we've already seen in the show to take its place. Mm-hmm. So this was a cool read. This was a cool reading. I wasn't overly upset about anything that didn't get put in the show for sure. But meeting new characters, this was also though on that scale of not only did something different, it's like, for instance, Perrin and Egwene's rescue was drastically different than what happened in the show.
Yeah.
But it was the same characters and things of this nature. Elaine Morgase Galad,
Yeah.
Garwin, and stuff like that. These are all new characters that we did not see in the series at all. So that's why this was such a pivotal reading, I think, this week as well, because I feel like there will be characters that we will see moving forward, especially since they've already indicated that they will be heading to Tarvalon as well. So
Right. Okay. Yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else that I noted that was incredibly different. We had like a different interaction. I mean, Logain. This is like in the book. We've been hearing about Logain. This is the only glimpse so far that we've gotten of Logain, and it's from a distance and he's laughing in a cage. Whereas he felt so much more present in the show. Any thoughts on that? Like those differences there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My only thoughts on that are if he's going to be more prominent in the book later on, and they decided to showcase him a lot more in season 1 just to build up to maybe his redemption, or I don't know, whatever case that may be, because we got to see and hear him. We didn't get to just hear myths of him like how Matt and Rand get to hear from other bystanders and villagers. We actually get to see him, and we actually get to see him battle. We also get to see his personal struggle with the one power, and all of that. So our interaction in the show, I do like that a little bit more, because it almost, in the book, I want to say, because of other people's perspective, he's demonized a lot more. When we see him in the show, it feels like he's someone struggling with the burden of having a power that men are not necessarily supposed to have. But it does seem like he is trying to do the best he can with it, with whatever he with whatever his rationale is behind that. So that's why it's different. He comes off a lot more villain-like in the book, I think, than in the show.
Yeah, because he, like, every time people talk about him, they call him the false dragon. Elida calls him the unbeliever, which felt like, why? That's a heavy word. That's a heavy word she's using on him. Okay. Any other thoughts, like on differences, or just where do you think we're going from here? Like, they said that. Yeah. Okay.
I think we're going to Tarvalon, maybe, but I think there could be a pit stop in the plans for 2 different reasons, potentially. I wonder if we're going to get out of Caemlyn without seeing the beggar.
Okay.
Or having an interaction with the beggar, a more prominent one.
Yeah.
And then 2, if we're going to get out of Caemlyn without Elida interfering with the group. And then 2, I feel like Elaine wants another peek at Brother Rand before he leaves town, before she leaves. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be curious to see how Gawain feels about that. Because I think the Queen Morgase said, Rand, you better not come back in this castle.
Yeah.
But she didn't say Elaine couldn't go visit Brother Rand outside the castle. You know, she already reprimanded her daughter on being kind of sneaky and mischievous, because she said she was once like her when she was a young age too. So I feel like she'll get a pass to go out to the city to visit Brother Rand.
Yeah. I did want to bring up, because I didn't highlight this. I did mention it, but I didn't highlight it. Moiraine asked Loyal to help them go in the ways, and Loyal, like, this chapter ends basically with Loyal saying, "No, I refuse," because Moiraine wants to head to the Eye of the World. That's what she wants to do right now. So, yeah, I mean that's sort of something we didn't actually get to see that much of that conversation in the show. But what do you think is going to happen with that?
So, I could be going way off the beaten path right now. Is that pretty much the portal that Moiraine opened to go through the tunnel to go? Is that what she's asking Loyal to guide them through? That
would be, I don't want to, like, because you are about to go read those next chapters. That would be my assumption. If I hadn't read, I don't want to say yes or no. I don't want to say yes or no. Like, I'm trying to ride that line in between a yes and a no.
Okay. But so I'll just speak from my perspective. Yeah. So from my perspective, and seeing the show, it makes me think what she's asking him to guide them through is the portal that she went through in the show.
Right.
That would be my assumption. And as I saw them go through that portal, I could fully understand what Loyal's skepticism would be about going through a situation like that.
Yeah.
So that would be what I was thinking that is.
Okay. So then, yeah, it's a matter of like, are they going to head there? Are they going to head to Tarvalon?
Rafo is what they told me, huh?
Yeah, Rafo. Yes, that's the universal cry.
They told me
of the
Rafo, they told me Rafo, but I'm depending on my Wafo.
your Wafo, your watch and find out too. Yes, nice. Okay, I don't think I have any further thoughts.
Watch and find out.
Yeah, on this one here. Do you have any final thoughts before we close out for today?
Nah, today's a great one. Appreciate y'all for sticking with me as I've been a little bit under the weather. Appreciate you again, Jenny. This has been a lot of fun. And next week we are on chapters.
40,
or next time we're on
43 to 48.
43 through 48.
Yes, it's the second to last one. And because like we're recording this after we finally released an episode, I saw some of the AI art you made, and it is gorgeous. It is stunning. So I'm going to do the plug this time. If you all have any thoughts on what you want to see for AI art, put it in the comments, because Addison's good at that. Like it was gorgeous. So yeah.
So I know what Rafo is. What is Lafo? Lie and find out? Laugh and find out?
Listen and find out?
Listen and find out. God, come on, Addison.
I was guessing.
Is there anything in there?
I know you're recovering from sick. I don't know. I'm literally guessing as to what that is.
All right, recovering from sick. Thank you. I think you said it the nice way. I think you might have been saying recovering from dumb, but you just gave me sick as a scapegoat answer.
No. I swear.
Appreciate y'all though. Y'all have a good one. Yeah. Catch y'all on the next episode.
All right.